Frustrating sometimes dealing with these things. Hi, everybody. I hope you're having a fine holiday season. If you're celebrating Passover or Easter or whatever it is, Ramadan or anything else, I wish you the very best. I've just had a really good week, actually, a very interesting time. I was the songwriter in residence at the Stetson Kennedy Foundation's place up at Beluthahatchee Park in south of Jacksonville. I've had a very fine time. Had a little chance to do some solitude and just soak up some nature at Stetson Kennedy's old house. If you're not familiar with Stetson Kennedy, you ought to look him up, at least on Wikipedia. He was quite a person. He was a son of a wealthy Southern family who had every reason to be like his ancestors and support the situation racially in the South, and instead he became a staunch advocate for the freedom of African American people, but not only the freedom, but the economic viability, you might say, and also the right to vote, participate in society, do all of the things that people are entitled to do. Worked for it all his life. His primary fame, as far as the public knows, is that he went undercover in the Ku Klux Klan in the 1940s. Because of his work, a couple of years without getting found out, the governor of Georgia decertified the Klan as a legal organization in, I think, 1947 or 48 or so. And a couple of the people that had been, I suppose, occupying positions of authority while continuing to pursue the goals of the Klan at the same time were outed. And Mr. Kennedy wrote a couple of books about it. One or two of them were based on his experiences. One or two of them were novels, I understand. He also was a naturalist, a folklorist. And what I discovered in having a little time to look into his life was that he was not any kind of firebrand. He was actually a very academic-oriented person who would quite reasonably discuss what was going on in the world in a kind of intelligent manner. So I found him to be a very inspiring person, and while living in the center, which is on the same property as his former home, I took a bunch of photographs, did a little bit of writing, mostly soaked up the good air, you might say, the sound of the birds, the nature close by. It was a very inspiring time, and I'm looking forward to whatever filters its way into song sometime in the future. Friday was also my mother's birthday. She would have been 104, so I thought I'd start off with this song tonight. She was sitting in a restaurant one Sunday afternoon, watching her older sister work the tables in the room. She ordered up the special, 7 courses and dessert, sat there at the counter in her blouse and her skirt. He was sitting at a table on the edge of the crowd with a group of people who were partying loud. She looked over disapprovingly alone. He caught her eye. When he winked at her, she looked away and just let it go by. Oh, ain't it funny how your life can change? In a moment's glance, it's all rearranged. You find yourself singing a different tune on any old Sunday afternoon. She polished off her soup and salad and her entree too. Went off to the ladies' room to tighten up her do. When she got back, her dessert had been mysteriously moved to the chair at that table in the corner of the room. At first she was offended, thought someone had done her dirt. But the more she thought about it, the more she wanted that dessert. A pile of whipped cream on top of green Jell-O cubes. She went over and sat down at that table across the room. Now ain't it funny how your life can change? In a moment's glance it's all rearranged. You find yourself humming a different tune on any old Sunday. On any old Sunday afternoon. Hello, said my father, you look very nice today. Thank you, said my mother, and shyly looked away. He sat there quietly until she was through, eating every one of those green Jell-O cubes. Now ain't it funny how your life can change? In a moment's glance it's all rearranged. You find yourself living a different tune on any old Sunday. On any old Sunday. On any old Sunday afternoon. On any old Sunday afternoon. Yeah, true story. Well, hey, a couple minutes ago there wasn't anybody here, and now we got some folks. Emmett Carlisle says Woody Guthrie hung out with Stetson. Yes, he did. There's a ballad of Woody Guthrie, a ballad of Stetson Kennedy on the wall in framed and behind glass, even that Woody wrote. Looks like it's written on a piece of paper in pen or pencil behind the glass. It's said that he wrote 80 songs while there. Stetson was a good friend of singer-songwriters, I guess. And Seeger also was a friend of his. He used to come down there. Well, I should sing a Florida folk song for you folks while I'm doing this talking, so let's do it. I played Friday evening 10 days ago at the Blue Tavern in Tallahassee, run by my good friend Carrie Handy. Really cool little place for music. And if you're ever in Tallahassee, Florida, definitely a place to go. And this was the first request I got. History of Florida. Let's go back 12,000 years when the land was roamed by mastodons, mammoths, and short-faced bears. The sea was 100 feet lower than go coast 70 miles further out. Survival depended on finding fresh water for the first few people coming south. And the Osceola River flowed under the ground in its own world of limestone and sand. You could almost believe it was hiding from human hands. The horses and the camels and the bisons moved on. The saber-toothed cats all died, along with the glyptodonts and the giant-toed sloth, when the first few people arrived. For the only fresh water was in limestone holes and ravines down in the ground. And the human beings with their sharp-tipped spears were always hanging around. And the Osceola River flowed under the ground in its own world of limestone and sand. You could almost believe it was hiding from human hands. The land grew warmer, the water rose, the ice age came to an end. Rivers flowed over the limestone holes, warm was the winter rain. Everything that survived adapted. The river of grass was born. Mosquitoes and gators found it to be an excellent hunting ground. 12,000 years later, and what have we learned? The saber-toothed cat's all gone. Blue herons, chameleons, and plastic flamingos are drinking at the country club pond. Development harvests the river of grass to build more suburban homes. Whole species of life are dying of thirst as we water our beautiful lawns. And the Osceola River flows under the ground in its own world of limestone and sand. You can almost believe it's hiding from human hands. Under the ground in its own world of limestone and sand. You can almost believe it's hiding from human hands. The Osceola River, for those of you who don't know this, is a river in the northern part of Florida. In fact, it's about 25 miles outside of Tallahassee, and it flows through a limestone cavern under the ground. So it's not visible from the land, except at a couple spots along the way where it surfaces in a kind of a muddy, swampy area. I've been out there. There's not much to see. Carrie Hamby from the Blue Tavern decided some years ago when I was up there, I've played there a few times, that I ought to see the Osceola River, and we drove out, and there it was. It was like a mud puddle in the woods, but we tried. Well, I should ask, how's the sound? Everybody okay with the way it sounds out there? Rod, it is working well on YouTube. Good. Yep, I see it there. Okay. And somebody messaged me over here. Okay. Peter from Switzerland. Yes. Hope to see us again in a moment. Well, actually, Peter, I'll answer this later, but if you're actually watching this show, we are currently booking a tour for April of 2024. We have so far 4 concerts booked already, in fact. like to sing one for my good friend George Gehring, who I saw this afternoon. I can't forget the day my baby went away. No matter how I try, seem to lose. I'm aching from the memory, faithful to my destiny. A guy who's always true to the blues. All the world seems out of tune. My heart's an empty room. When love is gone, you sure do pay your dues. I'm tossing in my sleep at night. Nothing that I do is right. The symptoms are all true to the blues. This time I thought I had found her, the only one designed to be my mate. Now tonight there are other arms around her. I guess I got to be resigned to my fate. The song of love we made is a lonesome serenade that follows me all down the avenue. I walk alone and pity me. I'm happy in my misery. A guy who's always true to the blues. This time I thought I had found her, the only one designed to be my mate. Now tonight there are other arms around her. I guess I got to be resigned to my fate. The song of love we made is a lonesome serenade that follows me on down the avenue. I walk alone and pity me. I'm happy in my misery. A guy who's always true to the blues. A guy who's always true to the blues. I feel like those, singing that song, I feel like those guys that you see on country award shows where they're up there singing, "You broke my heart," with this like big stupid grin on their face. Well, I had a glimpse of the future recently, and I realized it would be in 2035. The trial of Donald Trump for the January 6th insurrection was going into its 17th year, or was it 15th or 16th year? I forget. And the lawyers were filing appeals before the trial actually took place to make sure that it, whatever happened, it would take forever. You know, everybody else in the world, when they they're accused of a crime, they always say, I want to get the trial going so I can be exonerated. But of course, in that world, the idea is to never have the trial at all. Hey, if I were you, I'd lay those weapons down. Go home to your pastor, your minister, your priest, your wife, your kids, your dealer, your television, or at least seek forgiveness for the harm you've done. Hey, what did you think was going to happen? And if you don't watch out, your fantasies will come true. You'll find yourself and your friends in a shootout with people all dressed in blue. Is that really why you came? To give patriots a bad name? You shut the hell up, said the man in the center. What are you, some kind of wise ass? No, just a concerned citizen. They all stood there in silence. In the distance they heard sirens. Hey, if I were you, I'd lay those weapons down. Go home to your pastor, your minister, your priest, your wife, your kids, your dealer, your television, or at least seek forgiveness for the harm you've done. And don't forget how you came to give patriots a bad name. Hey, don't forget how you came to give patriots a bad name. One of my more commercial songs, no doubt. I'm sure that won't get played on country radio a lot. Well, I've got a bit of a hankering to play some songs that I haven't played so much lately. These Sunday nights are kind of the opportunity to play some other songs. The problem is thinking up what they are is always a challenge. Let's see what I've got here. Mike Riley says, sounds good. Thank you, Mike. Let's see what we got here. Tracy Sands, the Irish singer that I work with a lot, said to me one night she'd been listening to this song. She said, it's brilliant. You know, it's really good to have a singing partner who likes your songwriting. One more heartbreak song, who needs it? One more song for losing love again. I don't even want to hear myself sing it. One more time for the poor boy never wins. Who's that guy who always keeps on saying, think of all the good songs you can write. Maybe he ought to be the one to live them. Maybe he ought to be standing here tonight. 'Cause one more heartbreak song, who needs it? One more song for losing love again. I don't even want to hear myself sing it. One more song for the poor boy never wins. Well, darling, it's not just for myself I'm asking, but for all those people who'd be grateful to you. If you give me all your love and it ends up lasting, and I don't write a heartbreak song for you. 'Cause one more heartbreak song, who needs it? One more song for losing love again. I don't even want to hear myself sing it. One more time for the poor boy never wins. I don't even want to see myself live it. One more time for the poor boy never wins. Well, that was fun to do. Something I haven't played in a while. Let's see what else we got here. I'm looking at Later That Night. You know, I'm all out of Later That Night. I don't have any physical CD copies these days. And I'm reluctant to make more because, frankly, I'm just getting tired of having so many CDs in my storage unit. But I am out of them. And once in a while I go out and play a concert and I'll sell 15 or 20 CDs, but the rest of the time they're just kind of sitting around. So don't know what to do. And I'm working on a new one. In fact, we're making real progress on it. And if I'm really lucky and we get the work done, we may actually have some physical copies in time for these upcoming shows I have at the end of May. I'm doing a Dylan Fest in Stony Brook on May 21st, and another Dylan Fest on May 29 at Warwick, New York. And in between, May 27, we're playing Ithaca, New York, Mark Dan and I. June 2nd, Hyde Park, New York. June 3rd, Hyde Park, New York. June 4th, Danbury, Connecticut. And May 31st, we're playing in Cambridge, New York, which is somewhere outside of Albany, at a place called the Argyle Brewery. So if you're in any of those areas, look for us. In June, I'm playing in North Carolina. 2 concerts open to the public, one in Brevard and one in Franklin. And in a couple of weeks, I'm teaching at Music on the Mountain in Highland, North Carolina. If you're going to that, I'll be teaching a songwriting workshop. The last week of June, I'm teaching a virtual songwriting workshop online for Common Ground on the Hill in Maryland at McDaniel College. I've done this the last couple of years. It's been actually very productive, I think. We've had really good groups of songwriters. It goes every morning for a week. Common Ground on the Hill is a phenomenal arts camp. If you've never checked it out, go to commongroundonthehill.org, all one word, no punctuation, and just look at the faculty. It's amazing how good it is. I know that some of the other people that are going to be there, I'm teaching 1 week virtually, and then the first week of July I'll be there in person this summer. I know that some of the other people on the faculty include Tom Chapin, Scott Ainsley, the premier mandolinist Barry Mitterhoff from Skyline, Professor Louis, great blues keyboard player from Woodstock, New York, good guy. He's actually the keyboard player on Later That Night, in fact. When I was up in Woodstock, we had Louis play organ on some of the tunes. He's an excellent musician and a really good guy. we were sailors, we had 4 songs. 1 for the girls in the harbor towns, 2 for the weather, and 3 for the night watch, 4 for the run that washed it all down. You can't change the wind, only change the sand. After the singing we would sail on. When we were soldiers we had 4 dreams, 1 for the flashing bombs and terrified scenes, 2 for the stretches, 3 for the marches, 4 for our sweethearts where our homes had been. Some of us made it home, some went down alone. After the dreaming we would fight on. When we were magicians we had 4 fires, 1 for the transforming of design, 2 for the cleansing, and 3 for the healing, 4 for petitioning the heavenly choir. We made rings of stone to be remembered long after the fires had cooled down. When we were children we had 4 cups, 1 for the songs our parents taught us, 2 to hold the wishes, 3 to hold the marbles, 4 for the seasons that came on us. Through field and street we played hide and seek. After the childhood we would play on. When we were outlaws we had 4 kings, 1 who wore his hair down in golden rings, 2 who went to war, 3 who were murdered, 4 who claimed to rule over everything. And though they bent the green, they could not see the queen. After the kingdom we were free men. When we were troubadours we had 4 songs, 1 for the legends we were handed down, 2 for the heroes, 3 for the dancers, 4 for the stories we passed on. We walked together a time down these roads of rhyme. After the singing we would move on. You know, I had a hard time keeping a straight face through that one. I don't know if it's true for you folks watching on Facebook, but the Facebook gods sometimes put the lyrics of the songs as you sing them on the screen down below. And you know, it's an inexact science at best. At one point, they put 4 for our sweethearts where the horse had been. as if we have our sweethearts in the barn. That was on my screen. I saw that, and I wanted to just break up laughing, but I managed to keep it together. If, of course, the line is, our sweethearts where our homes had been. I don't,
I don't know how they manage to pull those things out, but that's what they do. Argyle is near South Glens Falls, northeast of Cafe Lena. Yes, it's northeast of Albany. I don't know, 20 miles or so. The I actually played once in Cambridge, New York, years ago. In fact, I played a Sunday night, and then the next day was Halloween. And the organizers of the concert, who were an older couple, Don and I forget his wife's name, very, very nice people, asked me if I would mind going up to the little elementary school that was just like 100 feet up the street in an old wooden white building, and singing a few songs for the kids. And so they assembled, I don't know, 150 kids in a small auditorium. And being Halloween, we sang the Monster Mash, and everybody, all the kids went nuts and started yelling, "Monster Mash! Monster Mash!" It was actually really fun. Good, Mike. I hope you can do it. I hope you can come. Well, let's see. Let me see how we're doing over here. We're on YouTube. Yes, we are. I don't see any comments. Oh, there maybe are a couple comments. John Lewis says, "Hi, Rod." John's watching on YouTube. How you doing, John? Good to see you. One of the things one of the reasons I want to be on YouTube is because the YouTube actually streams in the full 1920 by 1080, whereas Facebook does 720 by 480 DPI. It probably doesn't matter a lot. I don't think on Facebook that you'd notice a difference, frankly, but on YouTube you probably would. It also records in 1920 by 1080, so I'm using that now instead of Zoom. You may notice there's no Zoom logo down in the bottom right-hand corner of the page anymore. Well, I really ought to sing this song today. We had an interesting conversation at dinner, Nicole and I and the kids, and about what Easter actually means, and my kids seem to be surprised that I would actually care about Easter. But I think of myself as a spiritual person. I don't think of myself as a religious person. I suppose that's the difference. I think a religious person is someone who observes a particular set of procedures, you might say, within the body of work of a particular faith. People who celebrate Passover, for example, who actually have a ceremony in their home, would be, I think, at least somewhat religious. I do believe that it's all good on a certain level. Whatever works for anybody, whatever makes them more conscious of and aware is a good thing. That's, I guess, my religious principle. Beyond that, I kind of think that whatever your belief system is, if it's working for you, good. It's a good thing. As long as you're not using it as some justification to lord it over other people or punish other people or expect them to live up to your ideals. Wow, Facebook just froze up while I was talking. Unbelievable, isn't it? There it is. I think it just started moving again. Do they have people who actually listen to these things and they go, I don't like what that guy's saying, let's shut him off?
As a galley slave, I was given a name that had nothing to do with my own, and learned to give twice from my bed at night, and again when the morning had come. And there was an old one among us whose eyes seemed fixed on a fire, and I remember the night he stood watching that light from that most brilliant star, and then breaking his chains in a frenzy and stealing a sword from a guard, he said, "Show me the way to Calvary, or I'll kill you right where you are." Now I, who care nothing for politics or for the meaning of the stars in the sky, I said, "Gather that key up and free me, and I'll fight by your side till I die." We didn't know then that the firstborn would be hand slaughtered in Palestine, as we murdered our way to a lifeboat and set into the dark maritime. After 3 days we landed in mountains. I said, "What shall we eat as free men?" He said, "Show me the way to Calvary, and you'll never go hungry again." We passed that first winter in the mountains, huddled like wolves in a cave, as the snow formed its blanket of silence. I swore I'd no more be a slave. He heard all of my boastful speeches by the side of a pitiful fire, but his ears always seemed to be listening to a music he heard somewhere high. And to me, who knew nothing of wise men, who believe in no God you can't see, he said, "Show me the way to Calvary, and no chains will ever hold thee." Except for that promise of mine, and we abandoned our mountain shelter for the long walk to Palestine, till I came back and found him a-dying, and me standing with blankets and wine, and with a grip of iron he held me so close I could see through his eyes. He said, "Show me the way to Calvary, and we'll meet again in paradise." It was many years later I stood there, the last of my line to survive, and I watched him climb up that mountain with my own eyes barely alive, and they hung him right there in that sunlight, and they wrapped up his body in white, I cried all the day and the night. Now you with your young years before you must see for these old eyes of mine. Oh, show me the way to Calvary. I've come to the end of the line.
Well, let's see. Let's do that one. Song appeared on my CD in 1992, Highway to Nowhere. Let's do one more from Highway to Nowhere. Here's a song that I actually wrote on Easter Sunday of 1985. I was on my very first tour of Europe, and I think it was 1985 was my very first tour in Europe, and being that it was the Easter holiday, everything shut down, and there were no gigs on the tour. We had a couple days off. I had met a man in New York City who had said to me that if I ever got to Zurich, Switzerland, I should call him up. And so I called him up and said, hey, I'm going to be in Zurich. Didn't really have anywhere to go. And we called him up 3 or 4 days before the Easter holiday. We were playing in Villingen in South Germany. And he said, your timing is fantastic. I'm going skiing for the weekend, and I would love to have somebody stay in my apartment and just kind of look after it. Why don't you guys come down here and I'll give you a set of keys? And actually, he didn't even wait for us to get there. He gave me, I think, a combination, like a punch lock combination. It was in a high rise overlooking Zurich Lake, or Zurich Sea, as they say. And we went there, and we didn't really know anybody, but we just hung around in Zurich for a couple days, 3 days, and goofed off. Found a vegetarian restaurant where we could get a good meal for Mark Dan, and hung out. And I believe it was Easter morning when I stayed up really late. I just didn't go to sleep, and I was still awake when the sun came up, and wrote this song. There's a pause in the traffic, the first rays of the sun blaze in the window, it's the day. And I sit in this room, 3,000 miles from home, watching the sun reflect on the clay. Time to turn the flame around, time to burn the white shroud, time to look beyond the gray. Now that the rain has gone, now that the rain has gone away, once I was a slave worker, a fact in the machine. By night I dreamed I went to play. Now I walk past that window. Every day I know my dream comes closer till it comes to stay. Time to line the edge to stars, time to travel by the hearts, time to say we'll meet again another day. Now that the rain has gone, now that the rain has gone away, once I was a master, had a vision in my eye. No one's freedom mattered in the balanced way. If
If you'd come as a flower, I'd have made you bloom each time in a garden where you'd never own a space. Time to treat you like a babe, time to dig for you no grave, time to let your blossoms fall where they may. Now that the rain has gone, now that the rain has gone, now that the rain has gone away. Nice timing. That cough was perfectly timed on the last note. All right, well, let's see what else we got here. Can't find a Facebook feed tonight. Is that right? I'm watching it on Facebook right now. I'm watching it on Rod McDonald Music. Let's see if it's on the other page. Maybe it isn't. Well, let's see. Let me check this out here for a minute. It did freeze up at one point, so maybe it dropped the feed. Well, let's see. Nope, it's still going strong on my Facebook page. I don't know where that is. Don't know what the reason for that would be. We're on Facebook. Okay. Well, Nancy, I already played After the Singing. Well, Nancy, I already played After the Singing. Oh, I gotta turn the sound down here for a minute. Hold on. There we go. Okay. You know, today, well, I don't know about the date actually, but today being Easter, it's 3 years exactly since, well, not exactly, but 3 Easters anyway, since the first show I did on Facebook. Well, it wasn't really a show. I started on Easter Sunday in 2020 just as a lark. I came on Facebook to see if it was actually working, and it was. And I ended up playing 2 or 3 songs and then coming back and playing the following week. And for a long time, played every single week. Lately, I've been getting busier. I'm going to do another show next week, and then I'll be taking a couple weeks off. I have to go up to North Carolina and teach at Music on the Mountain. But I'll be here next week, I believe. I was originally supposed to play a show locally here in West Palm Beach, but that got moved to another date. But just since somebody asked for this song, this was the first song I ever did on one of these Facebook things. Whenever we measure life's greatest treasures, the simplest of pleasures is often most high. To hold and to cherish a love that won't perish, and to walk in the highlands with you by my side. Well, I remember the 1st of November, the frost on the heather, I followed the tide west through the highlands. Our ship sailed in silence, and never the highlands again have I spied. And how many lifetimes I've wandered since I took adventure, my bride. How many good lives squandered, victory and justice denied. At the end of my story, come fortune or glory, are only to answer for blindness or pride. If there's a heaven, one thing I believe in, I'll walk in the highlands with you by my side. And how many lifetimes I've wandered since I took adventure, my bride. How many good lives squandered, victory and justice denied. End of my story, come fortune or glory, are only to answer for blindness or pride. If there's a heaven, one thing I believe in, I'll walk in the highlands with you by my side. I'll walk in the highlands with you by my side. Well, a little request. Couple quick announcements. You can more or less see the sign up there, paypal.me/donate to Rod. If you can spare anything for the tip jar, it's much appreciated. At this point, it's probably going in next year's college tuition. But we can definitely use it. And thank you for whatever you feel it's worth to you. Got a bunch of shows coming up. Everything will be on rodmcdonald.com and .net. So I hope you can come to a live show if one of them happens near you. I guess the next one around here in South Florida is actually a morning show on May 7th. The Green Market in Palm Beach Gardens
I'll be at with 3 of the members of my band, Big Brass Bed. We play a lot of well-known songs and a few originals at that. It's usually fun. And then that night, May 7, will be the Greenwich Village Folk Festival. I'm not in it. I'm just one of the producers. Be usually, as usual, a stellar lineup. I know I'm drawing a blank. I'm not even sure who we have booked for it at this point in time. I should, I guess. But it's at greenwichvillage.org, folkfestival.org. Down below the sweltering palms, had some money, I laid it down. Work all night, I sleep all day. My little trailer by the bay. Well, baby's rocket, it makes me grin. I hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Don't come knocking. Don't come knocking. Don't come knocking. The trailer's rocking tonight. Well, it ain't no mansion on a hill, on blocks and strings, it's kinda still. Most of the neighbors up watching TV, got a satellite dish on every tree. It ain't much, but I like the wine when them springs get singing in double time. Don't come knocking. Don't come knocking. Don't come knocking. The trailer's rocking tonight. Ain't got no gas, got no car, bottle of wine and a cheap guitar. One thin candle providing the light. This trailer gonna be smoking tonight. Some kind will save some coin. Move across town to some rich man's joint. Drink margaritas while the sun goes down. Hire the neighbor's kids to mow the lawn. That's alright, I don't mind too much. Long as me and my baby don't lose our touch. Don't come knocking. Don't come knocking. Don't come knocking. The trailer's rocking tonight. I say don't come knocking. That trailer's rocking tonight. All right. I needed that. Okay. Well, let's do a request. Here's one of you folks that sing at home with me. Seems like there ought to be a way to look each other in the eye, to see we're all in this together, and put all thoughts of victory aside. Seems like there ought to be a way to turn some fear into trust. No matter what you say, there has to be a way. Every living thing is counting on us. Seems like there ought to be a way
to separate the freedom from the flag, to see what's real in the illusion. Sometimes a beauty walks around in rags. Seems like there ought to be agreement. We would rather live in peace than fight. No matter what you say, there has to be a way. Every living thing is on our side. Seems like if there's a God in heaven, we must have been put here to get along, to see that life is for the living, to leave a life the living when we're done. Seems like this ship out on the ocean must fly on the wing of the dove. No matter what you say, there has to be a way. Every living thing is reason enough. Seems like this ship out on the ocean must fly on the wing of the dove. No matter what you say, there has to be a way. Every living thing is reason enough. That has to be the shortest version of that song I've ever played. Oh well. Well, I'm working on a new CD, and let me play a song from it just for fun. We did this one in the studio live with Robin Bateau playing violin and singing a little bit of harmony. It's very, very nice, and I'm looking forward to finishing the CD, and I hope it's going to be out real soon. I'm wondering, though, I mean, I know a lot of people don't buy CDs anymore. I don't actually have a CD player in my car, which is where I listen to the most music. So whenever I do get a CD, I have to rip it into my computer and bounce it down to a USB drive and then stick that in the car so I can listen to it. So I'm thinking I'm going to make a few CDs, but I'm also going to make some USB drives maybe of it, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll put Later That Night on there too, since I'm all out of those on CD. You wouldn't guess it, but I miss you so. You seem so far away, and even though we barely speak when we're both there, I miss you here and everywhere. It's late at night and I'm somewhere else. You're asleep and the story tells a man whose world is crystal clear. I miss you here and everywhere. Over the mountain on virgin snow, along the cliffs where the seabirds go. There's so much distance, you're still so near. I miss you here and everywhere. How can I tell you what I feel? The words serve only to conceal. I lack the courage to declare I miss you here and everywhere. The wind howls outside, the rain is gone. The smell of dead leaves remains strong. The seasons burn and love is rare. I miss you here and everywhere. I miss you here and everywhere. I miss you here and everywhere. Well, I'd like to play this other guitar for a song. I had a most interesting encounter this past week. I went kayaking with a guy named Iolani up in North Florida, who runs a company called Earth Kinship, I believe it's called, southwest of Jacksonville. And if you're in Jacksonville and you want to go kayaking, there are all kinds of kayaking companies right in the city, and they take you around kind of like to the hotel wharves and stuff around downtown. Iolani's none of those guys. He actually he knows the waters, the backwater areas, and took me out where that really beautiful picture was taken. That's on my Facebook page. But after the photo was taken, you know, it got dark and the moon came up, and it was a really beautiful night. And we pulled our kayaks right out into the middle of the bay and sat in the moonlight talking. And he knew several people that I met in my own travels, including some of the Lakota Sioux around Frank Foolscrow's home in South Dakota. And unlike myself, he's actually been a sun dancer quite a few times. So I thought I'd sing this song for you guys tonight. And we're going to use this beautiful White Buffalo guitar that was gifted to me by Joe. Well, let's see if I can get it
so you can actually see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna move this down. Let's see, how's that? A little better maybe. That's better. From the dark of the earth you come, to the depths of the earth you go. For all of your traveling, that's the one thing for certain you know. From the moment you're born to the moment you die, takes no longer to pass through time than the twinkling of an eye. I'll wake up, sun dancer, feel the warmth of the sun in all of the many around you. You are the one. Wake up, sun dancer, your time has come, and know that in this great hour you are not alone. Feel the wing of the bird in your hand. Feel the breath of the wind in your feet. Every movement you make speaks to the heart of me. As you trace the directionless sky, as you step to the unnumbered beat, know that you are the creator of everything you see. I'm my father, the sun, my mother, the earth. With our prayers and our souls and our bodies, we come seeking rebirth into a world of peace. Now I can hear it call, and 144,000 shall dance for us all.
this prayer before I fly. In this great land I was born, and for all countries I cry. I wake up some dancer, feel the flowing of the sun. For so long you've been just a dream, now you are the one. Oh, wake up some dancer, your time has come. And know that in this time we're living, you are not alone. You're not alone. So dancer, yeah, you're not alone. Sun dancer, oh, you're not alone. Sun dancers, yeah, you're not alone. Another country I heard from. Well, that was kind of workout. Not an easy song to play on any guitar, and not totally familiar with this one yet, I must say, but well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and my family makes fun of me because every week when I'm starting to do this, getting ready for this, I always warm up by singing this song in the bathroom, so I can hit all the high notes. But it seems to me that since I did go ahead and warm up to it, I ought to sing it for you folks. I wish you all a very happy Easter, Passover, whatever holiday works for you. Thanks for whatever you can spare in the tip jar. And spread a little love around, and maybe we'll see you next Sunday night right back here. They say you've got to lose before you can win. They say you've got to choose before you can give in. And you've got to cut loose to get back again. And it's a long way back home. say you've got to fall before you can live. They say you've got to crawl before you can stand. And you've got to lose it all to get what you planned. And it's a long way back home. And it's a long way back home. When you're standing on some place you've never known, and I might see you where the rivers flow, like me, you're looking for a white buffalo. They say you've got to die before you can live. They say you've got to cry before you can give. You've got to say goodbye before you can come back in. And it's a long way back home. They say you've got to seed what you're going to grow. They say you've got to need what you're going to let go. And you've got to believe what you're going to know. And it's a long way back home. And it's a long way back home. When you're standing on some place you've never known, then I might see you where the rivers flow, like me, you're looking for a white buffalo. So I say to you farewell, for we will meet again in the hottest flames of hell. I could only call you friend. And when you hear that final bell, do not ask who's round your head till you found your way back home. And it's a long way back home. When you're standing on some place you've never known, then I might see you where the rivers flow, like me, just like me. You're looking. Oh, you're just like me. You're looking. You're just like me. You're looking for white buffalo. Well, folks, I wish you all a good week, and thanks so much for tuning in. I'm going to sign off, let my kids get some sleep, go to school in the morning, and it's been a pleasure singing for you. I hope I'll see you soon somewhere, and thanks again. Good night.